Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvadha Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Saha Viryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So going forward, we looked at some of the KPIs. This journey is not a type of journey where nothing happens until you reach the final destination. It's not like that. It is something where you will start to see changes and progress in yourself as you proceed along the journey. Okay? As you proceed along the journey, you will start to see that success in yourself. So actually, you don't have to wait very much into the journey to apply these indicators onto yourself. You should be asking yourself this question right now itself. You started this program on 31st January, right? 31st January, we started this program. It's June now. You got to ask yourself, does any of these indicators apply to me right now? You got to ask yourself that question. Has the frequency and duration of my happy moments increased? Am I more at peace with myself? Is my happiness less and less dependent on people? You see, if you find that these things are not working at the moment, then you need to ask yourself some serious questions about the commitment that you have undertaken and how much effort you are putting in. Okay? For starters, you should just ask yourself, ever since you started on this Vedanta in daily living program, how has your life changed? If nothing has changed since 31st Jan until now, it means that there's a lot of effort that needs to be put, or that maybe you have not applied yourself well enough, applied the teachings well enough onto your life. Okay, so this is something that you should regularly look at and ask yourself, how has my life changed? How has my life gotten better as a result of this study? Okay, so that is for the key performance indicators. So don't wait until you've gone another 6 months before you start applying these key performance indicators. These indicators, you should start applying them immediately. In fact, I would say you'd start applying it right now. From today onwards, you should be asking yourself all these hard questions. And if it is not working out, you need to do a lot of introspection, a lot of inquiry, and ask yourself what's going wrong and what is it that I can do right. Okay? So going forward, since we spoke about the operation of the Mahavakya and what it will deliver, today's session will look at the person who has attained that goal, the person who has attained the goal of Vedanta, which is Moksha, and that person is referred to as a Jivan Muktah. Okay, so this is the verse from Tattva Bodha. I didn't want to go and chant it, but this is basically where we are in Tattva Bodha, this verse, where it says that by the words of Vedanta and teachings of the Guru, in those in whom is born the knowledge that Brahman is in all beings, they are called the Jivan Muktah, the liberated while living. So the keywords is knowledge that Brahman is in all beings. Knowledge that Brahman is in all. Born in whom? Whom? Those who have exposed themselves to the words of the Vedanta and the teachings of the Guru. Okay? In such people, the knowledge that Brahman is in all beings is born. And that such a person is called a Jivan Muktah. The English translation for Jivan Muktah is liberated while living. Okay, this is the verse from Tattva Bodha. Then Tattva Bodha goes on to elaborate the next verse, which is in a greater detail, the nature of the Jivan Mukta. Okay, what it essentially says is that just as there is the firm conclusion before self-knowledge, just as the firm conclusion, that means how an ajnani, a person without knowledge, is so sure that I'm the body, that he's a man, he's a brahmana, he's got his qualification. We are all so sure about who we are. When people ask us, who are you? We'll say, I'm the body, your qualification, your gender, your intellectual achievements, your status in society. You're so sure about all this and you attach this to yourself. Minimally, you're so sure that you're the body. This firm conclusion is there. Just as how firm you are before self-knowledge, after self-knowledge, the Jivan Mukta has that same certitude that he's not a man, he's not a brahmana, and that he's not associated with any of these achievements or aspects that he has taken himself to be. There is firm, abiding, and immediate knowledge. In a moment, I'll cover what do I mean by immediate knowledge. Okay, so before self-knowledge, he's so certain. We are also certain that we are the body, that we are gender, man, woman, whatever. The Jivan Mukta, after self-knowledge, he is so certain that he's not a man, he's not a brahmana, he's not any of these achievements. But what? Then what is he? Is he nothing? No, he's not nothing. He is unattached, not attached to anything, and he is of the nature of Sat-Cit-Ananda, whose nature is effulgence. Here, effulgence does not refer to a physical light. This effulgence refers to the effulgence of knowing. It's pure consciousness that is talking about here. Okay, is of the nature of Sat-Cit-Ananda, whose nature is consciousness, and consciousness, Sat-Cit-Ananda, is the indweller in all beings in the form of all-pervasive consciousness. Okay, consciousness is of the nature of effulgence, of illuminating, of showing things, of knowing, and that Sat-Cit-Ananda is the indweller in all beings in the form of all-pervasive consciousness. So a Jivan Mukta, before self-knowledge, he thinks very firmly that I'm the body, I'm the man. After self-knowledge, he's so sure that I'm not a man, but I am the Sat-Cit-Ananda, that is the indweller in all beings in the form of the all-pervasive consciousness. This is the certitude that the Jivan Mukta derives as a result of the abiding in that knowledge of Vedanta. This is the nature of the Jivan Mukta. Okay. Now, having said that, I want to produce more, deliver more information on what does the Tattva Bodha mean by firm abiding. Firm and abiding is basically certitude, very sure. But this word is you have to look at it very carefully. Immediate knowledge, the word Tattva Bodha uses is Aparoksha jnana. Okay, I'll come to it in a minute. This is what makes the difference between mere intellectual knowledge and self-realization. This is the difference that is there between a person who has gained a mere intellectual appreciation of the Vedanta through text versus a person who has gained the experiential knowledge. Okay, this Aparoksha jnana is called this experiential knowledge. Okay, I'll talk a bit more about it in the next slide. But do note that the Jivan Mukta has this firm, abiding, and immediate or Aparoksha jnanam that he is not a man but Sat-Cit-Ananda, man or woman but Sat-Cit-Ananda. What is this immediate Aparoksha jnanam that we are talking about? See, knowledge, there's the first type of knowledge which is a common one, what we call as Pratyaksha jnana. Knowledge that is known from our sense organs. Okay, knowledge that is known from our sense organs typically. This is where we will say that it's all the jnani, all the knowledge obtained through our jnanendriyas is called Pratyaksha jnanam. Okay, knowledge obtained from our sense organs, things that we see here. Okay, direct perceptible knowledge. there is the other type of knowledge called indirect knowledge or Paroksha jnana. Okay, Paroksha jnana means like hearing from others, knowledge from areas outside the reach of our sense organs. If you look at your life today, all the things that you know are either Pratyaksha jnana or Paroksha jnana. All the knowledge that you have is either direct knowledge or indirect knowledge. Direct knowledge from your sense organs or indirect knowledge from someone else. In fact, most of your knowledge that you know is all indirect knowledge, Paroksha jnana, which you gain from books. You believe what you read, that some scientist has done some experiments and therefore you believe it. You take it as knowledge, you sit for exams, you pass, and you get your degrees and your diplomas and whatnot. Correct? So most of the knowledge that you have today is actually Paroksha jnana. Pratyaksha jnana also has its fair share, no doubt. You know, there are things that you gain through your own experiences, through your own five senses. Okay? So that is the mix that you have today in your life, okay, that you know of. Now, but what we spoke about earlier here in the Jivan Muktah is the third one, which is the Aparoksha jnana. Okay, this is the Aparoksha jnana. This is neither direct nor indirect. Okay, neither direct nor indirect, says the Tattva Bodha text. Okay, immediate knowledge is that which is not direct knowledge, nor is it indirect knowledge, as it is not knowledge of an object which is either near you or far you, inside of you or outside of you. This knowledge of the subject, I, is always immediate. So, Aparoksha jnana always pertains to the knowledge of the subject. In this case, who is the subject? I am the subject. So, it's the knowledge of who I am. So, today my Aparoksha jnanam is linked to me as a body, a mind, intellect, achievements, and the whole gamut of things. But for a jnani, for a Jivan Muktah, the Aparoksha jnanam is such that his knowledge of himself is that of all-pervasive consciousness as nothing but Brahman. Okay, and that is what Tattva Bodha is talking about here when it says that he has firm, abiding, immediate knowledge that I am not a man. Because why? He's so sure that he's not a man or a woman or a Brahmana, because he's so sure that he is of the nature of Sat-Cit-Ananda and the indweller in all beings in the form of all-pervasive consciousness. So this is the Aparoksha jnana. Now, Aparoksha jnana makes the difference between a Vedanta scholar and a jnani. A Vedanta scholar may have known all the texts, but it is merely an intellectual exercise only. Aparoksha jnana is that which makes it as an experiential knowledge, if I may use that word, experiential knowledge. Okay, so where does that leave us? What the text is trying to say is that you shouldn't stop at the intellectual knowledge. You know, you can't at this point say that, oh, I've studied Upanishads, I've studied Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita Bhashyam, Shankara Bhashyam, 108 Upanishads I've gone through. No, I know the text, I know the quotations, I know the verses. But does that mean that your ignorance is gone? Does it mean that you no longer consider yourself as a limited entity? No, it doesn't mean that. Only the experiential, the Aparoksha jnanam is that which will make the difference. Just because you've studied Vedanta texts and you're able to quote it and you know it with great depth, you know, including all the purusharta and the mimamsa and the in-depth analysis, you can't say the ignorance is gone. You know, you can't say that because you've not experienced it. You know, then you can't even go along the argument that, oh, but I have faith in the Shastras. Shastras say that I am Brahman. Therefore, I believe Shastras 100%. Become a very good Hindu. I believe Shastras. Shastras say that I am not limited entity. I am Brahman. Therefore, I believe. You know? Or my Guru says that I am Brahman. So therefore, I believe my Guru. I have a lot of Shraddha in the Shastras and I have a lot of Shraddha in my Guru. Therefore, I believe all these things 100% because I really believe in it. And therefore, now I take myself to be Brahman. And I am not the limited body, mind, sense complex. So that's it. Does it mean that I've reached the destination? The answer is no, you have not. No, you have not. Because this is not the Aparoksha jnana. This is not the experiential knowledge that the text is talking about. Your scenario, if you do that, you just stop at that stage without the Aparoksha jnana. It is like, it's a bit like this, to give you an analogy. Right? It's like watching a picture of an apple, and you say, oh, I know what is apple. I know what is apple. Why? Because I've seen a picture of apple. Do you know everything about the apple? No, you don't. You only know everything about the apple until you eat the apple. So you cannot, if you stop at intellectual level, that is merely a case like how somebody looks at an apple, never tasted an apple in his life, but looks at a picture of an apple and is contented with that. No, that is not what we are talking about here. And that is not Aparoksha jnana. The other feature of Aparoksha jnana, this immediate knowledge, is that there will be the removal of the sorrow. Remember dukkha nivritti we spoke about in the first class? Sukha praptihi and dukkha nivritti. There will be unalloyed bliss, unalloyed happiness, satisfaction, tripti, and dukkha nivritti, removal of sorrows, eradication of sorrows. You will not be affected by the afflictions and the situations. And the bliss of Brahmananda will shine. All this has to be there. These are the sure indicators that the knowledge that is there is Aparoksha experiential knowledge and not any other type of knowledge. Intellectual knowledge comes under the category of Pratyaksha and Pratyaksha jnana or Paroksha jnana. In fact, intellectual knowledge is only Paroksha jnana. It's not even Pratyaksha. It's Paroksha jnana. Okay? It's not Aparoksha jnana. Okay? So, for a student of Vedanta, it's very important that you go beyond the intellectual academic exercises, beyond the intellectual gymnastics. Sadly, that is not the case. Many people stop at this because they think that this is it. They think this is all that is required because they don't test whether the dukkham is gone, whether the happiness is there all the time. They may be elevated for short moments, in short moments of inspiration when you study a Vedanta text. You can get into a certain state where you see a oneness, certain intellectual happiness that you get from seeing things fall into place. But that doesn't last. It quickly drops back, you see. It stays elevated for a short while and then it comes back. And this is sometimes mistaken to be a state of jnanam. And some people even think that they are jnanis because of that. You see? But that is not what it is. That is not. The sure test is the removal of dukkha nivritti, sukha praptihi, brahmananda. That is key. Okay? So, sadly, many people get stuck at the intellectual stage. And you have to be sure whether you're studying Vedanta in Hindu center or you're going to anywhere else or you pursue your own studies anywhere, never forget this. And people talk about it, talk about the subject, about the goal. Be sure that when you talk about the goal has to be something where you have to go and complete the journey and not stop halfway. The people who stop at the intellectual level are like people who want to go to the top of the building. Say like you go to Dubai, the huge building, we can go to the highest floor, take the lift, go up there and see the top floor and see the beautiful scenery. But as you're going up halfway, maybe when you're just a quarter from the top, you say that, oh, okay, I mean, the view here is enough, I'll stop here. Okay? The guy who stops with the intellectual study, it's like that. He's a person who doesn't go to the summit, doesn't go to the top of the building. He stops halfway there and say, okay, I'm fine with this. And he comes back. So don't fall into this trap. Be very careful. Okay? Yeah, Shanti?
Is it possible to get the experience without the Vedanta vichara and the sadhana? There are people who say that doesn't seem right.
Other means, you mean other than Vedanta vichara? Is that your question?
Is it possible to get the experience other than Vedanta vichara and sadhana?
Yes. Through bhakti.
Bhakti, yeah.
Yes. In the Hindu tradition, I don't want to comment about other traditions, but in the Hindu tradition, while they say, remember, I mentioned this before, ultimately jnana is that which delivers. Through immense bhakti, through surrender to Bhagavan, through living a life totally committed to bhakti, like what they say as prapatti, it's also possible. And that's entirely contingent on the grace of God coming to you. That's possible. That is how you find people like Navakarasar, Sambandar, and many of them. They may not have, at least based on the historical information that we have, they may not have been people who embark on a intense Vedanta vichara like Shankara and Sureshwara and so on. But nevertheless, they were all jnanis, they attained it. So that very much is there. Jnanam delivers, and the jnanam can come through Vedanta vichara, through the Shabda Pramana, through the Shruti Vakyam, or it can also come through the grace of God. I remember in the first class in this program, somebody asked this question, how about people who are not illiterate people? Somebody asked this question, how illiterate? What if a guy can't even read English, he doesn't know, forget about PowerPoint, even if you give him hard copy, he can't read, he's illiterate. Does it mean the illiterate guy cannot realize God, cannot have self-realization? That was a question that was posed to me, and the answer is the same answer I'm giving today. It's bhakti. Because surrender to God can move mountains. So that is the answer.
Thank you.
Who shall I ask now? Karthik?
Yes, namaste. A question I had was related to the use of the term experience. Because experience is, as we understand, mostly related to the body and the five senses, right? So this is not the experience the way we typically understand experience, right?
Yeah, it's not. That is why I deliberately wanted to have this slide on to show the difference between Aparoksha jnana and Pratyaksha and Paroksha jnana. So when what you are speaking about experience related to the body and sense organs, you're talking about Pratyaksha jnana. And Tattva Bodha is here is saying this Jivan Muktah realization of oneness is not under the category of Pratyaksha jnana, but under the category of Aparoksha jnana. You get it?
Yeah.
So the point I was trying to make was that be clear about this part, about this differentiation between intellectual knowledge and the experiential knowledge that we speak about. Huh? Be very careful about that wherever you pursue your Vedanta studies. Huh? Moving on, this is again from Upadesha Sahasri, and it is, again, it says, once when the notion derived from the Veda that I am the absolute Aham Brahmasmi and nothing else becomes firm, the notion that one is an agent, it means whether that I'm the body, I'm a karta, I have desires, and I'm in bondage becomes as unreasonable as the notion that the body is the self. That means that person, his logic, he's so sure that the Aparoksha jnana, the knowledge is so certain that he exists and that he exists only as the self and not as the body. This is the word from verse 18-227 of Upadesha Sahasri, Shankara's words itself. And this is Shankara's own self-realization. Shankara's very own self-realization stated in Upadesha Sahasri, chapter 13, verse 18. I am the absolute. I am all. Hence, I am ever pure, Shuddha, enlightened, Mukta, not born from any source, ageless, okay, Ajaha, Sarvata, ageless, totally indestructible, and I am immortal. You see, I am all. He sees that oneness. He sees his immortality. Because why? Time and space doesn't mean anything anymore. Mortality, immortality is only with regard to the body, time, and space. And all three don't exist. The question of all that is there is immortal. There's no question of mortality to speak. Okay? And that is what Shankara is talking about here. Okay? Any questions before I go on to the next part, which is on why a Jivan Mukta therefore is not born again? We look at the dynamics of it. Any questions before I move on? Okay? All fine and good? Okay, so I'll go on to the next part on why a Jivan Mukta is not born again. This is again addressed in Tattva Bodha. I'm following Tattva Bodha at this point. Okay, so before we go and look at why a Jivan Mukta is not born, let's look at the cycle of karma. These slides, I have to give credit where it's due. The slides were prepared by Mr. Sadaji in his Hinduism 101, and I've actually stolen it and modified it here and there, and I'm using it thanks to Sada, Krishna Sadasi. Okay, so karma, huh? Let's look at the cycle of karma. And again, remember, whenever I use the word karma, it doesn't just refer to physical actions. Karma means I'm including thoughts, words, and deeds. Huh? All come under karma. Okay, thought, word, and deed. So when we do karmas, we have what we call as a seen result. Okay, if I were to steal something, the seen result for me is what? I become richer. Correct? So that is a seen result. But our Shastras say that alongside the seen result, there is something called an unseen result. The word they use, this is called Drishtapala, and this is Adrishtapala. So human existence is normally on this, as long as I see and I stay on the right side of the law, all is fine and good. Huh? And if I can cheat somebody and I don't get caught, I'm a happy man. The guy who's been cheated is a sad man. If I do good things, good karmas, okay, that person who benefited from my karma is happy. I get a sense of satisfaction having helped somebody. This is again, these are all in the realm of the seen result. But our Shastras say that accompanying all actions, including thought, word, and deed, there is something called an unseen result. Adrishtapala, which, depending on whether it is dharmic or adharmic, will lead to punya or papa. If it is dharmic, righteous action, it will produce what is called merit or punya. If it is adharmic action, it will produce what we call as papa or demerit. Sometimes you can call it sin also. What does this mean? This also means that punya papa can be earned by thoughts. It's a very important point to note, because most of the time we think that punya papa is only earned by action, physical action. It means if I think something wrong, if I think something adharmic, or I speak something adharmic, there is no punya papa. That's not true, especially papam. You have to be very careful. So words also can produce papam for you. Thoughts also can produce papam for you. That is why in Durvasana Pratikara Dashkam, you remember there was a lot of emphasis given to right type of thinking, because wrong thoughts will produce papa. Now, then you may ask me, so what? Okay, papa, punya, what does it matter? They are all in the realm of unseen, right? I can't see anything. So what's the big deal? No, there is a deal there. Because punya will come back and fructify as comfortable experiences in your life. Punya will come back and fructify as comfortable experiences. Similarly, papa will come back as uncomfortable experiences. And this can take place either in this birth or can be in later births. Okay? Can be this birth or can be in later births. So this is the sequence of karmas. When I say karma, I mean thought, word, and action, and how they come back as comfortable experiences or uncomfortable experiences to be experienced either in a physical form, or this experience can also be in some other lokas. I spoke about 14 worlds. So these experiences can be experienced in some other lokas, or can be experienced via a human birth. And how it unfolds is like this. So all the sum total of punya papa that you accrue goes into what we call as this. It's what we call as Sanchita karma. It's like a bank account where it contains the sum total of the punya and papa. Of course, the amount is unknown. This is continuously replenished. You'll see in a moment why it's continuously replenished and why we have control over this. Okay, we'll see. So this is bank account. From this bank account, what happens is you have what you call as the Prarabdha karma. Part of unfolded Sanchita, part of this bank account comes and unfolds in your life. It causes your birth, and that's why you are born with certain attributes: good looking, intelligence, certain abilities, certain temperament, certain character. All of these are linked to Prarabdha. That means what had been in the Sanchita has unfolded now as a Prarabdha. It causes the birth, and then it also unfolds periodically in life. It means over time. Not everything unfolds at the point when you're born. Something can unfold when you're 10 years old. Something can unfold when you are 15 years old, 30 years old, 50, 60, whatever. Over which one has no control again, both in terms of the extent and timing. When it will unfold and to what extent, you don't have a control. Again, this is under God's grace. That's Prarabdha. Then you have something called Agami. Karma done in this life. This is the free will. So one has influence over this karma. And whatever good karmas you do, good or bad, will go back into your bank account. That's what they mean by continuously replenished. So Sanchita, the bank account, is continuously replenished by the Agami that you do. And what is in the bank account is depleted little by little via the unfoldment in your life as Prarabdha. Prarabdha, Sanchita, and Agami. And this whole thing is called your cycle of samsara. Birth, rebirth, death, birth, rebirth, death, birth, rebirth, death, birth, rebirth. Okay? This is how punya and papa unfolds in your human life, continues the age of your life of samsara. Any questions? Before next, I'll address why the Jivan Muktah is able to escape free from this. Can I? Okay, yeah, Shiva. Yeah, Shiva?
Sorry, just one question. So just now you said the result of karma can be either a papa or punya, and
Yeah.
karma is also due to thought, words, and deeds.
Yeah.
But one doesn't occupy the same body in each birth, right? So does it mean that the papa and the punya is tagged to the sukshma sharira?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It's back to the Sukshma Sharira, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Tanuja?
Yeah, I had a question about the Agami karma.
Huh.
Wait 1 second. I'm trying. Okay.
Yeah, we just could get you the slide there. Okay.
So, the Prarabdha karma, even let's say like something is supposed to unfold at 40 years old and it's really terrible, but from 0 years old till 39 years old, this person was fantastic with their Agami karma. Does it affect the Prarabdha at all?
Okay. Prarabdha can be cushioned. Prarabdha can be cushioned by good Agami. Can. Cushion. I didn't say it will be eliminated. It doesn't nullify or cancel. But what the scriptures say is that Prarabdha's effect can be nullified, cushioned by leading a life of righteousness, by dharmic life. Because then you're producing good Agami that can balance the Prarabdha. Okay. Most importantly, the best form of Agami to counter Prarabdha is living a God-centered life. Ishwar Anugraha is the best because nothing beats God's grace when it comes to cushioning. Some Prarabdha you don't know. You don't know how bad your Prarabdha can be. You see? And it could be a time bomb waiting to explode in your life, at some stage in your life. There could be people who have wonderful lives and at some stage something terrible can happen out of nowhere, So to prepare for such things and even when such things happen, the first question, at that point you want to go and do dharma, do dhanam, do donations and get good Agami, time may not be there. So the God-centered life is very key because at that point you can immediately go to surrender and get God's grace, give you the strength to overcome this negative prarabdha that is unfolding. Good prarabdha, no need like that one, we know what to do. Just only the negative prarabdha that we suddenly will struggle when it pops up somewhere at some point in our life. Then we won't know how to manage. And that is why God-centered life is very useful because when it happens, even when it happens, you can go and surrender to God, pray to God for the strength to be able to cope with this, and manage it and overcome it and learn from it if possible. So that is the strategy. That's right, a wise strategy.
Thank you.
Ken, no other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, sorry, I can't see that. Just give me a minute, huh?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the statement that we have control or influence over the Sanchita karma via Agami. So doesn't the Agami only add to whatever you already have? What about the accumulated balance?
Agami adds to what you already have, correct? Yeah.
Are you saying that it nullifies what you may have accumulated all this while? Can you say
No,
you
no.
have?
No, this is a bank account. The Agami goes into the bank account. So let's assume you got X number of punya and Y number of papa. The Agami, be it X or Y, it will just go on to its share of punya and papa. That's all. The nullification doesn't take place in Sanchita. No. It's only when it unfolds. So what I'm trying to say is that when negative prarabdha unfolds, Agami that is good Agami in your bank account can also unfold at the same time. Because some Agami can unfold earlier to counteract a later Prarabdha that is unfolding. You understand what I'm saying?
In a way, it serves to protect you from the effects of negative prarabdha.
Yes, yes. Correct. Any other questions on this? We see no other hands raised. Yeah. Yeah, Madi, yeah. Yeah, Madi, you had a question?
Yeah, my question actually, I want to just take you back to Aparoksha, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
In Aparoksha, the intellectual part is where the knowledge is gained, right? Aparoksha is an immediate, is that experience in the mind, that the immediate knowledge, is it experience in the mind?
No, it's not even experience in the mind. You see, today, to know who you are, it is something beyond the mind. The I, the fact that I exist, that exists, you don't know it through the mind. It is something that is known in itself. That is why the word is, it's neither direct knowledge nor indirect knowledge. Anything that is known through the mind will come under the category of either Pratyaksha or Paroksha jnana, because there is a knower there, you know. So it's not known through the mind. It is something beyond the mind. Because remember, the mind is something that is mithya. This jnanam about who you are, about knowing yourself as awareness, as consciousness, this jnanam, this consciousness, this awareness is the basis itself for the mind. It's the basis itself for the mind.
So it's not even an
cannot be
experience.
mind doing it. Sorry?
So it's not even an experience, because an experience is an object in itself already.
Yeah, that's why experience is not the right word. That's why I said experiential knowledge. I didn't say experience. Because typically experience will come under the category of Pratyaksha or Paroksha jnana. You're right. It is not experience in the common use of the word experience. It is not an experience like eating a sweet food or getting a sour experience or getting some pain in your body. That's a popular experience that we know, but those come under the category of Pratyaksha and Paroksha. This Aparoksha is the direct knowledge of who I am. See?
So it's an example we talked about, even beyond the deep sleep, when the mind is shut down.
Yeah.
And yet you're still able to feel that, the awareness.
Yes. This is beyond deep sleep, because this is something that you come to know in the waking state. Because Aparoksha jnana takes place not in deep sleep, but in the waking state. The problem with deep sleep is that while you are in deep sleep, you don't know anything. You are ignorant of who you are. Correct? You can only say that I slept well after you woke up. But when you are going through deep sleep, you don't know who you are. There is no knowledge at that moment. So deep sleep is not a perfect state in that sense. Aparoksha jnana is different. In the waking state, the person is able to see himself as all. As you saw Shankara's words earlier on, you know. So that's why it's a very beautiful experience, you know. Something where
not experience. It's not an experience.
It's not even an experience. Yeah, it's choice of words. It's wrong. It's wrong to say that it's an experience, because our popular usage of the word experience is something that involves the mind. This is not that. That's why the Sanskritam word is not experience. The Sanskritam word is Aparoksha jnanam. It's knowledge. It's about knowing who I am. It's not the Sanskritam doesn't use the word experience.
And the knowledge doesn't involve the intellect as well, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. Today, to know that you exist, I ask you a question. To know that you exist, do you use your intellect to know that you exist?
No,
you don't. You know you exist. Because there's the I, that I exist is Swaprakasha, is self-existent, self-knowing. You know, that is the starting point, and we develop that to see the oneness in all. That's really what the Aparoksha jnana, that's how the Aparoksha jnana works. Yes, Andrea?
Ravi, I just wanted to add something to Tanuja's and Abhinav's question on how our positive, our punyam will affect our prarabdha. So I just want to give an example where you're saying that, it helps not exactly nullify, but probably dilute the bad effects or the bad experience that will come to us. So if according to my prarabdha, I was supposed to be hit by a bus, probably I will just trip and fall because of my good karma. So even when they say parigaram and everything, I've heard that you can't completely nullify the effect of your bad karma or the prarabdha, but you can probably dilute it and lessen the effects.
You're right. You're right. I probably didn't use the right word. It is not nullify. You're right. Dilute is probably the right choice of words. You're right. It's dilute, not nullify. Yeah, Dr. Prasad?
Yeah, Ravi, can we go back to your karma slide, your last slide?
Karma slide.
The one that you finished with just now.
Agami, is it?
Yeah, this is the one.
Okay.
So here, when we talk about we and you and I, it's the unrealized self, right?
Yes, yes.
Huh?
Yes, correct.
So we're talking about the gross body and subtle body.
Subtle body primarily.
Subtle body primarily.
Then I was going to explain the verses
Okay.
to come. We will see why the
why the Jivan Muktah will not be reborn. Yeah, it comes from here.
Will it be right to sort out or rather reflect what is the purpose of our life? What is the objective? If the objective and purpose is sorted out, I think Papa Punya will fall into place. Why am I living? What is my purpose in this world? Why am I living? Why? What is the purpose? What is the objective? What is the main objective? I'm very much into Ramakrishna order. Ramakrishna comes very strong that God realization. Other than God realization, is there any other purpose in life? That's my question.
Okay. The goals of life. Okay, maybe I can draw you back to the draw your attention to the Hindu scriptures on what they say as goals of life. So there are 4 major goals of life. Basically, human beings, once they are born, they have pursuits, which can be broadly categorized into 4 goals of life. The first one is called artha, or security, or basic securities, money, clothing, food, shelter. Then the other one is kama, which is entertainment, enjoyment. And then there is something called dharma, where a sense of righteousness. People live with a sense of doing the right thing, dharma. So that dharma, artha, kama. And the 4th one is called moksha. Moksha is freedom from all dependencies, and also freedom from being born again. Okay, so the Hindu Shastras talk about these 4 goals: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Now, but among these 4, Shastras will specifically say that moksha, they will refer to self-realization. Moksha is referred to as the paramapurusha. Paramapurusharta. That means the most superior goal. Superior means what? It's not that it is saying that everybody needs to seek moksha. It's not saying that. It is saying that it's the most noble goal a human being can have. It's the most noble goal that a human being can possibly have. That's why they call it paramapurusharta, moksha. So, having been born a human being, primarily you can have different goals, but the Hindu scriptures say it's a noble goal to have this goal of self-realization. And that is the purpose of life. So that is the short answer is that is the purpose of life. And to put it in very, very layman language, what's the purpose of life? Purpose of life is to realize God. Full stop.
You also say that?
Sorry?
You also say that.
Yeah.
That main purpose of life is God realization.
Yeah. Shankara will say in many places in his Bhashya, a life spent without making an effort. He didn't even say achieve God realization. He doesn't even go there. He says a life spent without even making an effort to realize God is a life that is wasted. He doesn't mince his words on this. Okay? Many, many places he says this in his Bhashya. So it is very clear to them the purpose of life is self-realization, God realization. Okay, so we'll go on to Tattva Bodha. So all are clear about the bank account, Sanchita, Agami, and Prarabdha. So now we can go and look at why the Jivan Muktah does not go through this cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Okay, so we'll go to the Tattva Bodha text. You can go to page 350 for the blue book, page 350. It says, Brahma eva aham asmi iti Aparoksha jnana nikila karma bandha vinirmukti syat. It means the person who has that Aparoksha jnana, see, he uses the word again, the Aparoksha, the immediate knowledge that I am Brahman, aham brahmasmi, he will be totally freed from all bonds of karma. Why? The next verse will explain. The next verse is in page 354, where the student asks, or rather the teacher presupposes the question, teacher anticipates the question. He says, Karmani kati vidhani santi iti che. Means if you ask me how many kinds of karma there are, the teacher gives the answer, Agami, Sanchita, Prarabdha Bedena, Trividhani Santi. There are 3 types of karmas, namely Agami, Sanchita, and Prarabdha. And then he goes on to explain, Agami karma kim. What is Agami karma? He said, Jnana utpatti anantaram jnani deha kritam punya papa rupam karma yadasti tat agamiti abhidhiyate. Agami karma is the karma that is the result of punya and papa. In the text it says is performed by the body of the wise man after the dawn of self-knowledge, but that is only here because this is the context of the jnani. But for all of us, basically Agami karma is any karma that is produced, that will lead to the creation of punya and papa. That is called Agami karma. That is the definition. Then he goes on to say, Sanchita karma kim. What is Sanchita karma? And Sanchita karma, they say, is Ananta koti janmanam bija bhutam sat yat karma jatam purvajitam tishtati tat sanchitam neyam. That means what? It is the karma that is the accumulated load of karma that was gathered before in countless crores of birth. Ananta koti, endless koti janmas or births, and existing in the seed form. Remember the bank account? The karma in the Sanchita karma exists in a seed form, and it unfolds or grows as prarabdha in the human's life. So this accumulated load of karma that was gathered before all the years, all the multiple births, exists in a seed form. This is called the Sanchita karma. And then he asks the next one, Prarabdham karma kimiti. What is prarabdha karma? Idam shariram utpadya iha loka evam sukha dukkhadi pradam yat karma tat prarabdham. Now you see, he's saying that, the first part is saying that karma which, having created this body in this world, in this manner, which gives comfort and pain, is called prarabdha. Is the first part is saying that prarabdha karma is the karma which gave rise to your body in this world, and which gave rise to a certain parentage. Why were you born in a particular house and not in somebody else's house? Why did you have a particular set of parents and not some other parents? So the parentage, the type of place, attributes, all of this is due to prarabdha karma. That is the karma that gave rise to all this. The second part is more interesting. Bhogena nashtam bhavati prarabdha karmanam bhogat eva shaya iti. It's only through bhoga, only through experiencing that you can destroy prarabdha. Only by going through experiences does the exhaustion of prarabdha karma takes place. This is a very important point in the context that we are looking at, because you will find later that even for the Jivan Muktah, he cannot escape prarabdha. Everybody has to go through prarabdha. Prarabdha is something that you cannot escape from. Okay, so that's why they are saying it twice. The exhaustion of prarabdha can only come about through the experiences. I mean, somebody has to go through whatever that has started to unfold. Okay, and remember we said prarabdha, it doesn't shoot out at one time. It can unfold little by little over a person's life. It is not something that just comes one here and there, here and now. So that is prarabdha karma. So going on, how does this link to our Jivan Mukti? Okay, and that is why in page 365 they say, Sanchitam karma brahmai va aham asmiti nischaya jnanena nashyati. Once you have the notion of Brahma eva aham asmi, that means I am Brahman, once that Aparoksha jnanam is there, what he is saying is Sanchita karma is nashyati, is destroyed. Sanchita karma gets destroyed. The whole bank account gets wiped clean when there is the Aparoksha jnanam. Okay? Okay, that's 2 hands are raised.
Sir. Ravi, you mentioned Sanchita karma, right? This is the the bank account, the sum total of all our karmas, will this be carried by the kaarana sharira?
Carried by the kaarana
You
sharira.
said in a seed form, right? So would it be part of the kaarana
Kaarana
sharira?
sukshma. Kaarana sukshma. When, remember I said, when karana will only exist alone when it is not pralaya, when the whole gross, when the universe is in a dormant state. That's when only time when karana sharira exists on its own. Other time when the universe has been manifested,
Okay.
it exists as sukshma and karana, means subtle and causal.
Okay.
So this Sanchita is there. So
Sukshma.
as long as you exist as a soul, your Sanchita is there with you in that as a jiva, in your subtle body. Subtle body.
Sorry, Ravi, I have to pull you back to. I'm struggling with Aparoksha jnana still, so I've not gone past. And
Okay, I'll tell
let
you
me
what.
explain
Can you
why.
hold your question on Aparoksha jnana until I finish this Sanchita, because
Yes,
it
please.
will lend more credibility then.
Sure.
Let me just finish off this part on the punya papa. Huh? Then you can pull me back to Aparoksha jnana. Back to Tattva Bodha, it's saying that Sanchita karma gets destroyed with the knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi. That means once the Aparoksha jnana is there. And then it says, in page 366, Agami karma api jnanena nashyati. Through jnanam, the Agami karma gets destroyed. Kincha Agami karmanam nalini dalagata jalavat jnaninam sambandho nashti. Agami karma is destroyed by knowledge. Why? Because the jnani doesn't identify with the action. Just like water and the lotus leaf, the wise men had no connection with Agami karma. Okay, we'll stop at that for Tattva Bodha. What essentially they are saying is this. First, for the jnani, Sanchita karma gets destroyed upon the realization that I am one with all. There is no more individuality, there is no more causal body. The entire subtle body gets decimated, and therefore there is no Sanchita karma. Okay, number one. Number two, he continues to exist in the gross body because of the unfolding of the prarabdha. Agami karma, whatever action that he typically has to do, will not lead to accruing new punya and papa, because the actions of a jnani are not done from ahankara. It's not done from the standpoint of an individuality. It's done from a higher consciousness. Okay, this is a divine state. Essentially it's one with God. His karmas are driven not for selfish reasons. Jnani's actions are always for the well-being of others. And such a karma, it's as good as God working through him. So there is no question of punya papa there. Okay? So that is the agami. So there is no agami karma, so to speak. Sanchita karma wiped out. What is left for the jnani is just prarabdha, which has already started to unfold via his physical body. And that is why they wait until that prarabdha is exhausted. They see out that death of that physical body, and then they are one with God. Classic example was Ramana Maharishi. Remember the time Ramana Maharishi passed away was the end of the gross body. It was essentially going back to oneness. Okay, so that is how a Jivan Muktah is not born again. Our reason for being born again is because our stock of Sanchita is still there. It has not been decimated. Continues to unfold as prarabdha throughout our life. And our agami, we continue to do karmas with identification with the limited body, mind, sense complex. We don't act from the standpoint of the higher consciousness, from supreme consciousness, because we don't have that jnanam that we are one with consciousness, that we are Sat-Cit-Ananda. We don't have that. So our agami karma will continue to earn us punya and papa. And therefore we continue. That doesn't happen for a... Yes, Sada, now we can go back to Aparoksha jnana. What is it?
Yes. Aparoksha jnanam being one more form of, or the supreme form of jnanam. For me to realize that Aparoksha jnanam, I need some tool. I need some modus. Because I am in this as a jiva, I have to therefore strive to get that jnanam. And so if I can neither achieve it through use of manas or buddhi, then I am stuck, because I should at least use buddhi to be able to gain aparoksha jnanam, because it is beyond merely the concept of I exist. Yeah, I exist. I don't need great intelligence, extraordinary intelligence to understand that. But aparoksha jnanam is beyond I exist. Then if buddhi is not the tool that I use, then how do I achieve it?
Good question. I need to draw your attention back to the operation of the Mahavakya. It shows through the vichara, through the words of actually not the Mahavakya. I should take you even back further. You remember the session where we spoke about the operation of pramana, how the words of the Shruti work on a person?
Yes.
So, in Vedanta Vichara, this through the process of Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, you remember the slide I showed at the beginning of today's session. What is actually happening is through the process of Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, through the study, through the Vichara, through the reflection, clarification of doubts, and through the assimilation and manifestation in my life, and through, very importantly, through the pure and steady mind, this Aparoksha jnana, the knowledge of myself as Aham Brahmasmi, will take place. This is what the Shastras says, and this is validated by experience. So the vichara, to do the Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, you need the mind and the intellect. Okay, so let's be clear about that. I'm not saying this is something where you put away your mind and your intellect and your senses. No. To hear the words of the Shastra, you need your senses. So the vichara, the Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam inevitably involves the mind, intellect. To do the yukti, to do the inquiry, you need buddhi. The fruit of all this is that which will show you that the very mind, the very intellect that was used to bring you to that level, to that understanding, is mithya. It's a very interesting case where the mind, the tools that are used to achieve something are eventually discarded. Ramakrishna always used this example. He will say that in ancient India, when your leg is stuck with a prick with a thorn, you use a thorn to pluck. After you have taken out, using the first thorn, you've taken out the thorn that is stuck in your leg. What do you do with both thorns? You throw away both thorns. So here the mind and the buddhi are used, manas and buddhi are used very much to do the vichara, to derive that particular knowledge of who I am. And that at that point, when that knowledge arrives, that Aparoksha jnana will tell you that that very mind and buddhi which helps you arrive at this Aparoksha jnana is mithya. Okay? Another example that Ramakrishna also likes to use is this. He always likes to say this as a story. A doll made of salt, S-A-L-T, a doll made of salt wanted to explore the bottom of the ocean. So it started to dive. And it started to dive. As it dived deeper and deeper, what happened? It became one with the ocean. So this is the Vedanta Vichara. You start with the mind and intellect, but through the process of Vichara and through the pure and steady mind, you will start to see the mithyatvam of the mind and the buddhi and the oneness of yourself with all. That's why this is a highly spiritual journey. It is not an intellectual journey. That's why I keep saying the mind, the pure and steady mind is very important. Otherwise, that intellectual assimilation from the words of the Vedanta will not translate into the experiential Aparoksha. This is really key to the whole business.
And in the worst case, there is intellectual rebellion also.
Rebellion, is it?
This the inability to understand and therefore rejection.
Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you for that eloquent sort of way of putting it, Ravi.
Chitra?
Yeah. Ravi, you said a jnani who's realized, Aham Brahmasmi, his Sanchita karma is wiped out, right? And if Prarabdha is part of Sanchita, how can his Prarabdha be in motion?
Good. I wanted somebody to ask this question. Good. Okay. Prarabdha, when it unfolds, so I mentioned earlier, Prarabdha, when it unfolds, it doesn't unfold completely. It's in Mundaka Upanishad, they use this example, Sanchita karma, it's like the arrow that's in the quiver. Agami karma is the arrow that is in the bow, but not shot yet. You have pulled the string and you're holding, you have not released yet. Prarabdha karma is the arrow that you have already shot. So, Agami karma, when you can hold back, you can take the arrow, stop it, put it back. Sanchita karma is the one in the quiver, haven't taken out yet. Prarabdha is the arrow that has been shot. So, the body and the things that unfold in one's life is the prarabdha that is out of the Sanchita account already. It is unfolding, it will continue to unfold at some point. So when they say the Sanchita that is eliminated, Nashyati in Tattva Bodha, they're talking about the Sanchita karma that has not come out that has not started unfolding as prarabdha. Okay, that is the one that is eliminated. The one that has either come out in some form or is starting to unfold, you can't do anything about it. That will continue its journey. Even the jnani will go through that experience.
I have two sort of unrelated questions, but somewhat related to this. The first one is, what happens, what karma are the spirits who leave the body but don't take on another birth and are roaming on the earth? Where are they in this cycle?
Roaming on earth. Can you be more specific? What is meant by
ghosts?
Ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay. Ghosts. I'm not an expert, not my area of expertise. Ghost. I'm not a ghost whisperer also. They say, I right here and there, why is it that some people are able to see the ghost? Or why is it the ghosts manifest themselves to human life? Often, they say it's because, basically the ghost, that particular jiva has not continued its journey. The jiva has not continued its journey wherever it's supposed to go, but instead is hanging around. So these are exceptions, but not the norm. Why are they doing it? There can be many, many reasons. Some people say it's extreme attachments to that form that it left, or whatever reason. And I had spiritual teachers who told me that when we come across such situations, in such encounters, you can only pray for their well-being, ask them to go into the light to continue their journey. Go and continue their journey. That's all you can wish for them. Nothing more than that. Why? There can be multitude of reasons why they are like that. There's no one answer for that.
Are they building karma while they are unmanifested but still on earth?
Probably not, because based on what Shastra said, it's not. It's not. But it's also important that the journey continues. Otherwise, there will be a certain desperation and a certain agony. The experience may not be good. There's no happiness.
So they're not stuck, right? They can leave anytime.
That's the part that they may have challenges leaving.
Correct.
That's why your prayer helps.
Yeah, my second question is, I read in some of the stories about, they have the godheads and stuff like that.
They're the what?
Like they have the stories about what happens in the heavens, the devas and all of this. Sometimes, yeah, the Puranas, sorry. I read that like sometimes if a certain not the gods, but like if the charioteer does something wrong, he will be sent down for like one birth or two births. Do they then have Agami and Sanchita karma, or they just have Prarabdha karma?
The charioteer is also a jiva.
Yeah.
He is in a deva loka, in a certain loka. He
did something wrong.
Yeah.
And then he sent down.
Yeah. I know. Puranas, they do subscribe to that, like as forms of punishment. Sometimes even Vijay and all that. Yeah, they do say that. But once you're on earth, of course you are doing karmas. There will be Agami karma. No doubt. There is Agami karma once you're on earth, of course.
But there's no Sanchita depending on their punishment. Right?
You don't know. You see, you don't know what kind of beings they are. Those things. The Puranas are not so clear on that part of it.
So, like for Ashwatthama, he was condemned to live 1,000 years in the forest and stuff. What about him? Will he be born again, or that was just for him, Ashwatthama, then he'll have another life and stuff?
No, Ashwatthama was given punishment for 1,000 life to live until the end of the kalpa, right? And live, I don't know, in some limited form or something like that, right? That's his punishment. It's a certain experience that he has to go through. And then when that is exhausted, that's the end of the. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have other Sanchita karma, right?
Yeah, he has
So
more.
according to that, he will unfold and he will be born again as whatever is required.
Okay, thank you.
Sada, you're okay. Shakti, yeah, Shakti.
Okay, no, because when you are talking about all this, I recall in 1999 when my mom passed away, Swamiji from Ramakrishna Mission came to my house, and because I was a bit concerned about that stuckness, whether I'm ready for my mother to leave and all that. So he mentioned to me that if you keep praying and that, you know, whether it's 31 days or 16 days, you say if you keep chanting and praying and singing the, you know, Jiva Purana, whatever it is, you're actually helping the soul move, and then it prevents the, what's the word he said? Prevents the soul from getting stuck. So, because I asked him the question about ghosts, because I'm terrified of ghosts. I'm really terrified of ghosts. So I asked Swamiji, I have sixth sense. I can sense and see things. I don't like that idea at all. So I asked him, what is that due to? So he says, these are those, what's the word he said? They're stuck because of something or other, they're stuck. So nobody is praying. So he says you just have to pray for the soul to move on its journey, because not everybody has that proper rituals done for the soul to leave. Something like that he told me. And then right now I'm watching, they're having Mahabharata on one of these channels, and it's very clearly explaining some of these. So that question that she had asked about the stuckness, about the ghost, because I really hate it. I have sixth sense. I really hate it. Okay, but after Swamiji explained to that, I didn't feel so frightened. And when because I remember clearly him telling me that. And my father was telling me, because my father had attended this Vedanta class from Ramakrishna Mission a long time ago. So he was telling me that as long as you keep saying, basically they're stuck and they're not moving. So we just pray for the soul to, what's the word we spoke? You cannot say the soul, right? You know, for it to go in a journey. So you just keep praying and praying, thing. Am I right to say that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the right word is now.
Yeah, we pray for them to move on.
Yeah. Okay, so that, because you know that stuckness. So correct, because I wanted to clarify that concept there.
From the way the Tattva Bodha says, would it mean that if someone has committed enough apakarya as to have accumulated sanchita, but nevertheless during this lifetime is able to achieve and become a jnani through mananam, smaranam, nididhyasanam, etc. Does that mean that even for such a person, the sanchita can be wiped out and the agami can be wiped out?
Yeah. That's what the Tattva Bodha, that's what the Shruti says. Correct.
So even the greatest sinner, I mean, why I had this doubt is this then comes somewhat very close to Christian theology of total forgiveness.
Okay, but I ask you, you putting up theoretical concept. Let me counter you with theoretical concepts. You say theoretically akramam doing and then jnani. Now I ask you, how many months do you need for a akramam, for a guy who has committed lots of papa, to gain Vedanta knowledge, attain a pure mind and a steady mind? You tell me, how many months does it take?
10 months.
Probably a lifetime or more.
Exactly the point. You answered your question. So is it possible? The theory, the scenario they're talking about, is it a possible scenario? It's not. It's an unlikely scenario. So the values that brings about jnanam and Jivan Mukti, values which are very subtle and very dharmic and very requires lots of discipline on one's mind, senses, and mind, senses, and above all devotion to God. Without all this, and once you have all this, you will not be doing wrong things. So somebody who's doing wrong thing, you can confidently say this person, one of these three things are terribly lacking, and he has to bridge that gap before he can attain jnana. So it's a long, long way to go. So we'll stop there. Next week, actually, that ends the part on the Jivan Muktah, because then on Tattva Bodha goes on to another mini topic. So that ends the part on Jivan Muktah and Jivan Mukti, and why Jivan Muktah is not born again. Yeah, Saundarya.
Sorry, Ravi, this is not in what was covered today. Just a general question, more of a clarification of the Sanskrit term. So when we say Rupa, we mean form.
When we say what? Sorry?
Rupa.
Rupa.
Rupa is form. But Svarupa is essence,
So,
right?
Svarupa, okay. I don't think the words are related. I'm not too sure. Somebody, some scholar can help me.
Svarupa.
Sorry?
When we say Atma is Sat-Cit-Ananda Svarupa, Svarupa means essence.
Essence.
So, in Nirvana Shatakam, when he says Shatkam, he says Chidananda Rupam Shivoham.
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham.
Rupa, there is form, sir.
You can say that, yeah. Chidananda Rupa.
Chidananda Rupam was formless, right?
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. You see, against contextual usage of the word Rupa. Okay, so you see, if you say in some contexts, the English translation for Rupa will be form, physical form. In some contexts, the English translation for Rupa can be nature. So Svarupa means your self nature. Nature, which is as close to essence. So Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham means I am of the nature of Sat-Cit-Ananda, which is Shiva Aham, Shiva Aham. I am Shiva. I am Shiva.
So it's not form.
That is not form. There it's a nature. So Rupa does not necessarily, don't lock in the meaning of Rupa to a physical form. Rupa can also mean of the nature. Because English translations, if you go check Nirvana Shatakam translations, they will not translate it, say physical form of Sat-Cit-Ananda. No, they say I'm of the nature. Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham Shiva means I'm of the nature of Chidananda Rupa and I am Shiva. Shiva here meaning auspiciousness, which is also Shivam. You know, they say Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam न्यायेन मार्गेण महिं महिषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं शोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Thank you. See you all next week.